Hi, everyone. I'm here today again with Michael Tracy. Um, we are here to discuss all the latest craziness with the Epstein files. Michael you look like you're in witness protection. What's going on with you?
Well, that's what us truth tellers have to resort to in these
Did
circumstances.
the pedophile hunters get to you?
I'm looking behind my back. I'm sleeping with a revolver under my pillow.
Yeah, gripping your pillow tight. Exit not
Yes.
exit light.
Um, it occurred to me that unexpectedly and fantastically, we are in the midst of the summer of Epstein. Whoever would have thought that 2025, the summer would not be defined by some surfing rock and roll hit or Sabrina Carpenter. She got last summer. This year is the summer of Epstein. So in that spirit, I'm wearing my summer style sunglasses. Actually, the real reason is that my normal pair of glasses are screwed up, and I have a backup pair that I've been wearing, but the prescription is slightly off,
Mm.
and so it's just a little bit easier for me to wear my sunglasses at the moment.
Oh, wait, why do the sunglasses don't help you see better?
No, the sunglasses are prescription. I
Okay,
have a
I see.
backup pair of
I
regular
see.
glasses that have a slightly
Yeah.
askew prescription, so it's a little
Yeah.
annoying.
Okay. Yeah, you sound like Trump. Yeah. Why are we still talking about Epstein? Yeah, and to think that
No,
this would
I'm
be
I'm,
like
I'm happy to keep talking about it for as long as people want to keep talking about it. Let's talk about it. Trump is
it's
still
a lot,
talking about it.
and that it's a liability for Trump is interesting. I mean, these people are, the I'm surprised. Like I've always been on the kind of idea that the Trump cult is just like unshakable. They care about Trump, but there are a few lines he kind of can't cross. So I saw like Benny Johnson like criticize Trump. Like Benny Johnson is kind of like an extreme case of just like a mindless zombie. And these people are listening to the audiences, and they're mad. I mean, they are not letting him drop it. They have an incentive or some kind of compulsion to keep talking about this. And so yeah, this is still going. This is like a news story. I just saw Politico. I think it was a Politico push notification. Like Laura Loomer says that like Trump needs to like get right with the base or something. And it's like, just what Laura Loomer says is kind of a push notification for Politico. It's kind of the media is having a field day with this too.
I love Laura Loomer. I'm exempting her rather, sorry, from any criticism I might level at other Trump flunkies just because she's so amusing.
Yes,
And
I have feelings for her too. So,
I know her personally. I'll admit that. So I'm gonna just arbitrarily exempt her from criticism. Um, with Benny Johnson, it's interesting. So you got to think, what are Benny Johnson's incentives? Benny Johnson has a commercial incentive, obviously, to just be an amplifier of all things Trump
uh,
and cater to a certain online demographic that sustains his livelihood. So I think to the degree that he's going to criticize Trump, it's going to be about attempting to keep together the so-called MAGA coalition that comprise his demographic that he's appealing to, right? Charlie Kirk, the same thing. So it's not like these people suddenly discovered the ability to criticize Trump.
yeah.
They're maintaining their imperative to keep cohesive as possible the Trump support base because that's their commercial base.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They don't love like Charlie Kirk and Benny Johnson don't just personally worship Trump. Like Laura Loomer might, I don't know, but like they have
Right.
that. It's
she's
not like
she's
they.
special.
Yeah, she's special. It's not like they have bronze statues in their room, right? If they have to choose between the audience and supporting Trump, they're going to go with the audience, obviously. And so yeah, I'm just what I'm surprised about or what I find interesting is not these people exactly, but what it says about the audience itself, which has just like kind of had a kind of awakening. I mean, it's like if Trump, when he stands up and he says, "This is just like the Russia hoax. This is fake." It's like if he woke up one day and said like, closing the border and stopping illegal immigration is like a Democrat plot that's something Biden and Hillary have been trying to do for years. And like it's something me and my base have always stood against, right? It would be like there's some limit to like just the kind of nonsense that he can say. And I think we've reached this limit. When he says like, he just there it's a tick. It's like Biden, Comey, Christopher Wray, Steele Dossier, Russia Gate, and then he just adds, "Oh yeah, Epstein files." Too. And they're like, "Wait, what the hell? This is the thing we've been waiting for like it's we've been talking about it. It's our base, the people you brought into the administration, Cash Patel and Don Bongino, and like JD Vance and Trump himself has talked about the Epstein files, and it finally reached the place where like the audience is just not there. It's like there's just one bridge it can't cross.
Yeah, what's fascinating about this is if Trump really wanted to just move on from this story, for whatever reason, and we can speculate as to the reasons, in theory, there would have been a way for him to do so artfully. I
Yeah.
tweeted this earlier, but there would have been a way for him to just kind of gracefully, to the degree that he's capable of doing that, move on from the story. But instead, he's decided to go
I mean,
clear on his
what would you
supporters.
say? What would you say if you were Trump to do it
Well,
gracefully?
I mean, the funny thing is, like, he doesn't even make these perfunctory offerings of sympathy to the quote unquote victims of Epstein.
Mm.
Like, you can imagine a more conventional politician saying, "This has been a horrible episode. We sympathize with the victims. We hope that they can find peace, etc." But he doesn't even make that perfunctory gesture. Like, have you heard him offer sympathy with the quote unquote victims ever?
No. Do you remember when Ghislaine was arrested and he was like, I just wish her well. I mean, it's tough to be
Yeah.
in jail. Yeah, it was exactly the opposite, actually.
But instead, he's decided to like disown his supporters.
Yeah.
Like, he
Calls,
posted on Truth Social today that the Republicans who have been duped by the Democrat Epstein hoax are now to be considered his former supporters.
so it is really, really funny. Um,
So I think what we should maybe do, Richard, is actually, as a thought experiment, entertain the kind of maximalist conspiratorial explanation for what's going on right now. And then maybe we can poke holes in it afterwards. But like,
yeah.
just as an exercise in trying to have some empathy with why
But
lots
first,
of people feel the way they do, let's do that.
let's finish that thought to see if there was a way for Trump to gracefully move
Okay.
away from it. Okay, so he would start by expressing sympathy with the victims, and then he would say what he would say something along the lines of the victims. We don't want to traumatize them further. There's bad
Right.
stuff. He maybe would say there's bad stuff in there, but we can't prove anything in a court of law. And then releasing it would re-victimize him. It would be something like that.
Releasing what's yet to be released would re-victimize the victims. That's sort of what
Or
Pam
if I was
Bondi has
Trump,
said.
you know what I would do? I would play into the QAnon thing, and I would just be like, "Oh, they've been handled. Like, don't worry. Like, they've met their end." And it would just be like this QAnon thing where he secretly executed, the pedophiles, which they believed anyway.
He
So
could
they
just
were,
basically repeat what Pam Bondi has been saying, which is that the materials that have yet to be released consist overwhelmingly of like some kind of child pornography or what have you. And we are steadfast in protecting the privacy rights of victims. And this was a horrible episode. Jeffrey Epstein was a notorious predator, etc. Trump doesn't even say that.
yeah, yeah. He
And the
will
worst
say
I've
like,
heard him say lately is that Epstein had a quote lot of problems.
yeah, he had problems. He had a few issues in his life.
Like, yeah, he did have problems. He was in jail, so he had a problem.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, something like that. Right. He could have. But he goes all the way. He makes it a litmus test again for he makes it a litmus test for his supporters, right? He's like, you are a disloyal MAGA at this point. If you are
Yeah, he's
not,
getting ratioed on Truth Social, which is incredible.
yeah, I
He's
mean,
getting ratioed.
it's a
I was just
site
looking
you
at
only
Fox
go
News
to.
YouTube video on it with his latest comments from this morning or afternoon. He's getting ratioed on Fox News videos.
Yeah, yeah, the Truth Social thing is incredible. It's a website that only exists for Trump super
Yeah,
fans.
nobody would use it for any other reason.
And you have now it's like more crazy than before because you actually used to be able to just go on the site and look at it. Now they want an email address. I tried to give them a fake email address. I don't want that spam. And then they wanted a phone number confirmation. And so like I can't get to Truth Social anymore. I'm not gonna
I'm
give
a
them.
Truth Social user. I did create an account just so I could follow Trump's.
You know what? Maybe I should create a account. You ever try to like go troll there? Maybe it'd be fun to get.
I've never posted on there, but like I think around the time when it was first launched, this was early 2022. I did create an account, so I have it on my phone, so I get the Trump updates.
Okay, maybe yeah, maybe I should do that, and maybe I should just have some fun with all the magas there. Um, but yeah, yeah, so he's lost the audience. So yeah, let's do your exercise. Where would we?
Okay, so let's do the exercise. So I'll just stipulate up front that I had been increasingly wary of the veracity of a lot of aspects of the story for a long time, but it wasn't something that I was really that interested in making central to my identity.
Mm,
So I did some investigation, let's say, meaning I would read through court documents and talk to people here and there, but I didn't like dive all encompassingly down the Epstein rabbit hole.
mm.
Uh, and my interest was piqued initially. Like people, I think mostly didn't start following it from this point, but I basically did because in late 2014, Virginia Giuffre, who became like the premier accuser, filed this sensational document when she accused all manner of prominent individuals of sex trafficking, or that she claimed that she had been sex trafficked to all these prominent individuals, including Dershowitz, Prince Andrew, etc. And Gawker actually published a version of Ghislaine Maxwell's Little Black Book, which came to sort of form the foundation of what people believed the Epstein list was, or the Epstein, like the core Epstein file was. So I've been sort of peripherally aware of this from like an increasingly skeptical
Wait, so
perspective.
Gawker got their hands on what? Ghislaine's like actual black book, like actual address
They
book or
posted
something?
like the address book or the contact book of Ghislaine Maxwell.
And how did
I,
they get
I
that?
forget what year it was exactly. I'm going to say 2015, but I'm not 100% sure.
And how did they get that?
Um, Somebody got their hands on it and gave it to them. Like
Okay, so
somebody,
they
the story is, I think I'm forgetting the journalist's name now, but he got it like 2 or 3 years before that. He just sat on it for a while and ended up getting published on Gawker. He gave it to Gawker. I can
okay.
give you a verse on how exactly that happened, but that's basically what happened.
Uh-huh.
Um, but like as I've looked more and more into it, the questions about various facets arise. So I do want to at least entertain the scenario whereby the people who have the most kind of grievous
Mhm.
apprehensions about this story are
Someone
correct.
says a housekeeper stole it, by the way, in the comments and tried to
That
sell
might be right. That might be right.
it. Mm.
Um, so, for instance, I was not fully aware of how intimately involved Steve Bannon was with Jeffrey Epstein toward the end of Epstein's life. Apparently, they met in 2017, and it came to pass that after there was this tsunami of renewed interest around Epstein post the 2018 Miami Herald series, Epstein and Bannon became close confidants to the degree that, as recounted in Michael Wolff's book, I think it's called Too Rich or something like that. Uh, Bannon took part in like media strategy sessions with Epstein.
Mm.
So, question number one, and maybe this is out there in the public record and is yet to be known by me, but was Bannon paid by Epstein for these media strategizing services? Epstein paid like anybody and everybody
Mm.
who was in his orbit, right? Because he just had endless money. And I don't know, I would think that Bannon, because he was seen as this Bengali of Trump's 2000
Yeah.
election victory, would have been a hot commodity and would have had a big price in terms of participating in strategy sessions, right? Or
Mm.
was it the case that that Bannon was just so enthralled with Epstein that he did it pro bono? I'm not sure. That's question number one.
the book doesn't say this. It doesn't explain why. Like Bannon was like giving him all. How much time did Bannon give him? Was maybe Bannon just had a few phone calls with him as like a buddy? Like how involved was he in trying to rehabilitate him?
Well, he was on, as chronicled in this Wolf book, he was on at least one elaborate media strategy session with
Okay.
Epstein about how to come out and publicly try to address the charges that were growing into a fever pitch against Epstein. This was before Epstein was indicted in 2019 and after the Miami Herald series. So between like November of 2018 into uh, between November of 2018 and July of 2019.
Mhm.
Um, so he took part in this one media strategy session, and it included Bannon by phone, Michael Wolff apparently just sitting around there recording everything.
Oh, he
Uh,
says he recorded it. He recorded the
yeah,
session.
Michael Wolff has like 100 hours of tapes or something.
Oh, Michael Wolff. He's the one who came out where Epstein said Trump was his best friend, right?
Yeah, he released a little
Yes.
snippet, but it's
Yeah.
like a tiny percentage of what Wolff still has.
Mhm.
Um, so included in this media strategy session were Steve Bannon, Jeffrey Epstein, Epstein's lawyers, Ehud Barak, the former prime minister, and and uh, and yeah, that's basically it. I mean, I think there might have been like so Epstein had what like Wolf describes as gallery girls around. So there would be women, younger women, attractive women who would just kind of like be set pieces
Mhm.
in the environment. Because as Wolf describes it, these soirees at Epstein's New York mansion, and amazingly, it does seem to have been the largest or most expensive mansion in all of Manhattan. Like mansions don't even exist in Manhattan, but he had
Mhm.
one. Um, but he kind of describes them as like gentlemen's clubs almost. There will be occasionally be a woman there who was sort of like idiosyncratic, but by and large, they were like gentlemen's clubs where could get together in like a man's environment and talk about stuff, and they would have these younger, attractive women as gallery girls, quote unquote.
Mhm.
Um, so one thing leads to another. Bannon does come to the mansion in New York and records 15 hours or 16 hours of prep interviews with Epstein. Because the idea is that Bannon's going to assist Epstein in preparing for some media interview that he's going to do with 60 Minutes or Gayle King or some other kind of like, network news show. And according to Bannon, this would require months and months of arduous preparation. So, why isn't it? And we talked about this a little bit last time, but why isn't it that Bannon has ever released anything more than like a 20-second excerpt of these interviews in a trailer for a documentary that he claimed was coming out about 4 years ago, and then just nothing happened with it? Could it be
Yeah.
that Bannon, for instance, asked about Epstein's relationship with Trump? How could he not? The whole idea was that Bannon was going to prepare Epstein for any possible line of questioning that would be foisted upon him by these network TV interviewers, who would obviously at that point be asking about Trump. Um,
Yeah.
and so, like, is there some kind of like more smoking gun revelation having to do with Trump that Epstein could have articulated in those interviews? We,
The
we mentioned that Wolf claims that Epstein displayed to him like Polaroid photos or snapshot photos that he kept in a safe of
Yeah.
Trump like consorting with these younger women. Do we know if they were
Uh,
minors? No, but they seem to be young enough that maybe it would have been embarrassing for Trump to be on to have that photographic evidence of him
yeah.
consorting with them in like 25 years ago or something.
Or them pointing and laughing at a stain on his pants. I mean, that's pretty incredible. I mean,
And
that would
now
be
and now but and now Trump really does seem to be so
angry.
he's whipped up this brand new explanation that he never mentioned before, that the whole Epstein issue is not just something that, like, it's all been said and done, like it's been years since the guy's been dead or what have you. We should move on. He's now saying that it's a Democrat hoax. He's now saying that Epstein issue or files or something. It's hard to ever know because it's not like Trump speaks in precise lawyerly rhetoric.
Mm.
The whole thing is a creation of Obama and Comey and Hillary and Biden or whomever. And it's in the same pantheon as the Russia hoax or the Steele dossier or what have you. So, in that respect,
did
like,
Epstein
could
ever
there be
do?
reason to believe that, to the degree that there are files that have yet to be publicized, they actually would, if not implicate Trump in like underage sex trafficking, still prove to be some kind of political liability?
Did
I think that's plausible.
Yeah, did Epstein ever do the 60 Minutes or mainstream media interview that he was preparing for?
Not that I know of. I don't think he
Yeah,
ever did it. No.
might have, because probably got indicted. It was like, yeah, was the
Well,
timeline?
I mean, and then there, like, Michael Wolff also recounts another time where Michael Wolff was at Epstein's, luxurious apartment in Paris, and Epstein was trying to hire some kind of PR firm to handle this prospective media tour that he was going to go on to try to clear his name. And most of the prominent PR firms in the United States and elsewhere were not interested, but they ended up convincing a PR firm in Britain to come and at least have meetings with Epstein about what their strategy might be for some kind of media rehabilitation effort.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And it was sort of in the works, like Epstein paid a lot of money to this PR firm, but then once he was arrested by July, the PR firm essentially gave up and said there was not really that they could do at that point.
Yeah, this is too crazy. Yeah, there's nothing.
Yeah.
The people want blood. The the Epstein. Yeah. Okay. So the Trump. So the pictures, like, there's pictures. He's hanging out with him. What do you make of this MAGA argument that, like, if that was true, Tucker has said this and other MAGAs have said this, the Democrats, Biden would have released it?
I don't know. We're talking about a different scenario in the Biden administration. Like, Merrick Garland was appointed by Biden as Attorney General because the idea was that Biden wanted to show that he would restore some degree of independence to the DOJ, in contrast with what he claimed Trump did. So the idea was that Trump wanted the DOJ just to be a prong of his political operation, even though he had some problems in his first term with his succession of attorney generals, Jeff Sessions, Bill Barr, etc. But Biden was going to restore norms, right? And the norm is that the DOJ is independent of the president. And so there was a lot of growing frustration in Democratic circles about what they perceived as Merrick Garland's lack of urgency in prosecuting Trump over January 6th. There would be like signals sent, like Biden would grouse about things
I mean,
to the New York Times, and then that would be
is
like a signal sent to Sessions. But it was different than like Trump, like directing Pam Bondi to do something.
It's MAGA projection. They imagine that, like, the Biden administration works in the way that, like, the Trump administration does, where it's just basically they're all just trying to do whatever is in the political interest or follow the whims of the dear leader. Yeah, I agree with that.
I do think that there was political pressure brought to bear on Merrick Garland to move more expeditiously on the Trump prosecutions, but it was more indirect than what Trump would be disposed to do. So exactly. I don't know. I mean, like, so what's the idea here? That, like, if those Polaroid pictures could be found, that, like, Biden would tweet them out.
Biden would have had a press conference and been like, yeah, like Merrick Garland or something.
I'm not sold on that, really. I mean, maybe they could have been leaked. I mean, people are right that there would have been a big incentive to get that out there.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. I think it's MAGAs are projecting. MAGAs are imagining that Biden administration basically works where the Trump administration works, where it's all about personal loyalty and that's all they care about. And like, yeah, I think that's right.
But why was Bannon so okay? So this would be a prong of a conspiracy. Not I don't like to use the conspiracy because people think that you're being dismissive when you even use the term.
Ugh.
The grievous suspicions that people have. A prong of those suspicions that I don't think have really ever been fully explored is the Bannon component. Like Bannon left the first Trump administration in August of 2017. In a fairly short period of time, he somehow became a consultant to Jeffrey Epstein on media strategy.
Ugh.
Did these like priceless interviews with Epstein that had never appeared in any other format, like a one-on-one TV style interview that were under the auspices of a prep session. And there's this one remark that Wolf reports in his book that the first time that Bannon met Epstein, Bannon said to Epstein, like, you were the one guy I was scared of during the 2016 campaign, meaning that Epstein was the one guy who might have had something damaging.
Really? That's amazing.
Um, but Epstein kind of, was kept quiet or was mysterious or anything.
That's amazing. So the Epstein and Trump connections were so taken for granted among Steve Bannon that he just went to Epstein in 2016 before people were thinking that much about Jeffrey Epstein and said you could have brought down the campaign.
This was post 2016. This was the first time that Epstein and Bannon met, if my recollection is right. So I think this was late 2017.
Okay, so still,
So they're talking. So Bannon's referring to the campaign from a year prior and saying to Epstein, you were the one guy that I was scared of. Now, the way that this is sort of characterized in Wolf's book is it was kind of like a little bit tongue in cheek, a little bit joking, right? But there could have been a grain of truth to it.
Yeah, jokes. Yeah, jokes are sometimes reflect a truth. Yeah,
And it is true. So when people say that Trump promised to quote release the Epstein files in the 2024 campaign, it's a little bit nuanced in that Trump, as far as I know, in the past many years, never on his own volition brought up the Epstein matter at all.
uh,
He would be asked about it here and there on these anti-establishment podcasts that he went on. And he would say, yeah, sure, release the Epstein files, maybe, we'll see. But he was always kind of non-committal. It was not like it was something that he would ever go around overtly campaigning on his own accord, right? He did especially once he integrated RFK Jr. into the campaign operation, which I think will go down as one of the most effective kind of like political propaganda triumphs in terms of broadening the Republican electoral coalition to appeal to a certain demographic that is heavily online, younger, kind of conspiracist in their just mental orientation. In that they have like a conspiracism is their epistemology. Like, not that they're wrong about every last conspiracy that could ever be asserted, but like conspiracism is sort of an ideology that flows through like a Joe Rogan, Theo Vaughn, etc., and all these kind of like ancillary podcasts that spring from that network. And that's what they had to appeal to especially cater to like younger men, or maybe mostly apolitical, but consume that form of media. And so Trump would overtly say, yeah, we're going to release the JFK files.
MLK,
Release the Martin Luther
UFOs.
King files. But on the Epstein files, he was never quite as committal as people like now want to sort of retroactively think. And so why would that be? It's because like maybe he had some inkling that there was something that was implicating of him buried somewhere in one of the files. So, actually, Elon Musk has said, he did that explosive tweet when he had his big falling out with Trump, that Trump was in the Epstein files. That's like was neither here nor there, because like even the batch of old files that had already been in the public domain that Bondi released in February, when she distributed the stupid prop souvenir binders to the influencers. Even in those files, you can go on the DOJ website and find old flight logs where it says Donald Trump on a flight log in terms of him having flown on Epstein's jet.
Yeah.
But those have been out for ages. Like, that wasn't even like really in dispute. So Musk was really referring to something that didn't even necessarily reflect some hidden truth
Yeah.
about Trump.
Yeah,
And
but I
then
would
Musk also
Mu
says that Bannon is in the Epstein file.
yeah,
Whatever
but
that
no, but, I mean, that could be true, but, like, Musk is the least credible person, in the world.